Hi Shauna, just wanted you to see your first video, so here you go. I'm just going to let you watch it run. Again, we're looking at is that crossing that center line on this, the main thing. Also what your hips are doing. Okay, so your first thing, Sean, again, is the idea of when we're running, we want to go ahead and not cross this center line once I center that to your body here, right there. And you see here that how you're touching the center line, which puts this greater angle on the hip. I know your knees are bowed, your feet turn out, and it may look like you're running really wide on the front, but we just need to separate the hips about another inch right here. This should be a gap between the two feet. Okay, you shouldn't be crossing over in a view at this point. And then right there, if you watch the hip, once you hit the ground on the hip, watch this hip tilt really aggressively. See that? So this muscle right here is not sustaining your hip power. It is probably the most, after I watch this, the critical thing you need to train more than anything. Otherwise, running is not going to be your friend. It's going to hurt your hips over time. We need to train your hips, okay? It's really critical. The next thing we look at, watch the upper body here and watch the shoulder rotate. See how it turns? And it's going across the body, which then the other foot, the opposite leg, right shoulder, left leg, is going to have to whip around and follow in the middle. So when you start to use your hands palm down at first and run them back and forth instead of across the body, you'll see that your feet will follow you with greater ease, okay? So that's the first one for you. It just gives you an idea. Also, we see here the angle of your pronation. You really step in, and that angle of pronation is pretty high, and it can hurt your anterior shins and your ankle eventually. But if you move it out to the right, okay, you'll decrease this angle from 24 degrees or 26 degrees, which is what it is. Excuse me, 16 degrees. Apologize, 16 degrees. You want it about 6 to 8 max, okay? So just moving it, your foot stopping a little bit out, and there again is your really high creased angle of your leg, which we only wanted 3 degrees, okay? Okay, so we'll go to your next video for you. Okay, Shauna, here's your second picture. Again, this line here is your gravity line. We're looking to see if you can set your foot down right on the gravity line and not reach out in front of you. Learn to create a little better lean in your body. Not from your back, but from your legs. And that's just a matter of running behind you. So I'm going to show you a little diagram about that. So the first thing we're looking at on this thing, Shauna, is when I bring the leg up, you see that your leg is almost perfectly straight, and you see the leg touch the ground right there. So again, this gravity line, you want it before, so there's your leg, go right through the bottom of your leg, and that's where your gravity line is behind you. That means the force is pushing you back. This is where you want it to be, right there. So we'll do it with the right leg. So again, you lock out, striking with your heel. That's where it should be, right there. And we want a nice, this is how you should be stopping. We want a nice bend in the knee, like that. We want this to be right on the midline of gravity so that when you follow this line straight up, it ends up in front of you, which I'll kind of show you on the next step. So as we come up, we're going to stop you right there. And this, if this is where you stood, at least this line going right through the base of your, sorry, I got to follow it. You see that it's at least in front of your face of where the angle of your tibia fibia is. So that means that's assisting you. So that's where you need to stop your landing. Now the run that you do, you know, you keep your shorter gait, but you basically, let me draw a picture of what it should look like. You want your gait to come back like this, down into this zone. What you're doing is your gait is going out here like this. Okay? So you just bring it back underneath you, let the front of your leg follow back, and won't be a problem. So, let that leg come back a little bit like that, and then you bring it up a little bit higher, and then just drop it right there. And stomp, hit the ground, let it bring back. That's just a bit of a trial for you of practicing, okay? You're bouncing 3.1 inches up and down because you're straight legging. So when you hit with your straight leg, it bounces you in the air. And then again, you see your shoulder here kind of stop. And see, then it just, your whole rate, you raise your shoulder here, pushing it that way. So we want to decrease that. Okay, let's look at your second run after we've tried to fix a few things. Okay, on this one, right away, just when we catch your picture, Sean, you see there's a gap between your feet. Now, you're going to have some good parts in this and some bad, but we got a few steps where you run a little bit wider, which is really good. See that? Okay, boom. See the gaps between you? So now you kind of, look, you go back to your habit a little bit there. You tighten up. You tighten up. See, went back to your tightening, and then you kind of think about it for a minute, and you spread open again. So you have some good steps there. I like your hands much better, but you still use your arms and not so much your body. See, there's too much twisting going on. So one of the things when you run down the road, Charlie, you've got to really focus on this twisting ability. Let me get you a couple pictures, slow down. But right here, at least you see a gap this time. Before you weren't seeing any gap when you look at the last video. And then watch your shoulder here. Okay, so you come back. You want this arm the arm to drive and try to keep your but see how all the twisting goes on up there. So you want to decrease that just a little bit, okay? Learn not to allow your body to rotate around so much. It tightens up your abdomen. I sent you some stuff for that. Let's look at your next one. Okay, Shauna, here's your next video. Now, what you did a lot better is you see that you're not reaching out so far. You are still slightly hitting your heel. You're trying to lean, but see how you leaned at your low back? See, you just watched. Now you stood back up. Because I said lean a little bit, but you try to do it with your upper body. You can't. You just want to. When you lean, you want to just let the stuff run underneath you. Get used to it behind you. Sorry, not underneath you. So let's start that off again. Your first couple steps aren't bad. So there's your gravity line right here. You come up in the air. You still really lock that leg out, which is okay. But right now, there's where you're hitting. You hit right there. So that one we didn't get a good video on you. Unfortunately, you still kind of struck out in front. You just didn't strike out as far. Right there is how your knee needs to hit the ground. And it's purely a matter of practice, okay? Just kind of watch it run through. You're just going to be a little slower learner. It's going to take you a little bit of time. No problem. Just practice. See what you're doing with your hands there. Try not to let too much rotation take place, and use the arms. And really ask yourself at one of the runs, hey, am I feeling my heel hit the ground? And you can practice on grass with no shoes helps. But see how you started to lean again right there from your back? So we don't want that. See the lean? The guy behind you is a perfect angle of running at a faster pace, mind you. Okay, well, you got some stuff you can work on. I hope the videos help you. You can go back and watch them at any point in time. I'll be sending those, and I already sent the exercise over to you. Thanks, dear.